sort of legend of Lookingglass is that we started when David Schwimmer had $500 in his bank account, and he was a junior in college, and he wants to take that $500 and self-produce a play. And he had this script. It was an adaptation of Alice in Wonderland by Andre Gregory and the Manhattan Project. And so he convinced a bunch of us undergrads at Northwestern to not audition for a play fall quarter and just work on Alice. And so he guided us through this rehearsal process where we built trust, we built connection, we used our bodies in a way that nobody was doing in Chicago at that point. Nobody was doing on campus, let alone in Chicago.
I remember David Schwimmer reading a passage from Jerzy Grotowski's Towards a Poor Theater when we were doing our very first, before we were Lookingglass, but became our nominal production and adaptation of Alice in Wonderland. And he read it at the beginning of a rehearsal, just as a sort of, sermon for us to ponder. And Jerzy said something like, you need to fall into this process like you're falling in love. And that I really coalesced around that thought throughout my life with Lookingglass. And I think I've sought to that in my happiest collaborative experiences since then. And the ones that work are always the ones that have a seed of that love and respect.
We talked about everything forever, on and on, late at night. After running our nightclub, recording studio, art gallery, theater that we had down on 13th Street, we wanted to save the American theater. We wanted to do the most exciting, physical, visceral, amazing, multidisciplinary work that we could come up with.
I was a year after the founding members, and they brought me and Phil and Christine and Temple on the year after they started. And I was at school, and a group of them had done West, that Berkoff play that we ended up doing later. And I was obsessed with it and saw it 4 times. And I was obsessed with Mary Zimmerman, who was a grad student at the time, and I would see all her stuff. And I was like, that is what I want to be doing.
I was just a graduate student, so I was very young in my career as well. And also the ensemble at that time barely existed. It was just something these people had started, but it was about a year old. I mean, the way I first got to know them is I rented the space that they first had to do what was the original notebooks of Leonardo da Vinci that I produced myself, and I rented the space from them and this, that. So it wasn't as though I was an institution or they were an institution yet at all.
We came about in the 80s, and we're trying to see how can we take that work and bring it into the here and now, create what is beyond a postmodern theater. And for us, there was a visceral, bold physicality that we wanted to see on stage. We were born out of the birth of MTV, the new technologies, that there was a muscular, phantasmagoric quality of the video age, and we wanted to see how can create a live experience. We wanted to be the best at whatever we were presenting.
There was a lot of fear as a young company that we were going to lose people to other jobs or other professions. And I remember there was one moment early on when one of our members decided she needed to take some space to go study something else. And it was kind of a shock. But we realized the company had to be a place that we were free to go. And at the same time, the door would always be open for your return. It was a very important lesson. And the only reason the company survived was because we willed it.